Yep.
We're live. Hello. Welcome to the Sleep When I'm Dead book club discussion for Famous Last Words. I did not grab my book, but that's okay. Everyone else did. So welcome. Let us know what you rated this book in the comments. We are saving our rating for the very end. We will do introductions for everyone that's on screen. I do have everyone's channels linked down below. Jordan, since you're just to my right, would you go ahead and start for us?
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Jordan. My channel is Sorry Booked Solid, and I read a lot of different things. I do read a lot of mystery thrillers and also other realistic fiction, everything from contemporary romance to historical fiction to science fiction. Pretty much everything except for fantasy I don't really touch, and horror, like strong horror, I don't really touch. So that's me, and I do lots of reading blogs.
Nice.
Well, you can find horror and fantasy on my channel.
Exactly.
But I also, hi, I'm Jan from Jan Agathon. I also read a little bit of everything, but I try not to touch science fiction. But I'm trying to dabble. This year. But I'm going for like the more genre blend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like horror, sci-fi, or whatever. But yeah, my mains are horror, fantasy, and romance.
Nice.
And I do a lot of vlogs.
Nice. Also, I meant to say this like backstage before we went live. Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
I saw the video. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cute.
Thank you. Yeah, it was Sunday.
So exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Has it sunk in yet, or are you still just?
Am I what?
Has it set in yet? Like sunk in and started actually thinking about it, or are you still just riding the high?
We're gonna elope. We're not gonna do a wedding because that's too much. But we literally just like randomly scream we're engaged to each other. Just like we'd be like passing each other, like walk, like going into different rooms. We're like, we're engaged.
Aww.
So yeah, I just keep staring.
Yeah.
The ring is gorgeous, by the way. It's totally cool. You and your aesthetic too, so I love it.
Yes, thank you. I chose it last year and he was like, oh, hell yeah. So yeah, I think I'm going to get him a band too, just so it's like fair,
Yeah.
He has the signifier too.
Yeah. I love it. But hello, everyone. My name is Jessie. Welcome to my channel, my book club, where we read new release thrillers. My most common book genres are thrillers and romance, but I have been trying to read a little bit more sci-fi. I've read some horror this year, historical fiction. I'm currently reading a nonfiction self-help book. It's kind of disgusting, but I'm actually really enjoying it. So,
is it the Let Them theory?
No, but that is like on my TBR. I'm reading something that has to do with like coaching for like work related. It's disgusting, like I said.
Okay.
But yeah, so excited to have everyone here and to discuss this book. We'll go ahead and get started. We will be talking spoilers, so if you have not read this book or haven't finished it, like here is your sign to come back at a later time. So we'll go ahead. Jan, do you want to let us know what this book was about for anyone that is still here and doesn't know what the book is about?
Okay. So we start off with, I am so bad with names. What's her name? What's
Cam?
The woman's name? Camilla. Yeah, Cam. So she wakes up. She's like, where's my husband? His name's Luke. And she finds a note that he left. I'm not going to say what the note said because I don't know if that's a spoiler. And it was just like really ominous, like what's happening? And then he's not answering his texts or calls or whatever. And then she's like, oh my God, he's missing. And then the cops come and he's like, there's been a hostage, but like your husband was not taken. He was the taker. So like, newsflash,
Dun, dun, dun.
There you go. So yeah, that's how it kind of starts off, and then we go from there. Is that good?
You muted yourself, Jessie.
Oh,
no, you.
I don't even remember to say that all over.
No. I don't even remember doing that, but thanks for letting me know. No, I was saying that synopsis was perfect. I could have said it any better. So everyone has put in some star ratings. So we've got like 4 stars, 3 stars. I think I saw like a 2-star in there somewhere. So kind of a little bit all over the place, which I love. Okay, we'll just go ahead and start with the questions. My first question is, have you read anything by this author before?
I have. I've read her 2 previous, well, she's written more than 2 books, but like her 2 most recent previous books I've read. So Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I read this and really enjoyed it. And then I have read Just Another Missing Person, and I thought this one was just okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I read Wrong Place, Wrong Time, and I thought it was all right too. I'm not a big fan of like time stuff in books, but that one was interesting because of the whole backwards thing and how it was done. So I think I gave it a high 3.
It's a little sci-fi-ish.
There you go. Yeah.
A little bit.
Nice. I also have read the same ones that Jordan mentioned. I believe I gave Wrong Place, Wrong Time a high 3-star as well. And then Just Another Missing Person I DNF'd, unfortunately. So, and then this one, which we'll be talking about. So one of my favorite questions to ask is, if you could describe this book only using 3 words, what words would you choose?
Jan?
Why? I thought you were going first. Okay. Predictable, boring, and bookish.
All right. I'll say it was like long spanning.
Okay.
I guess that's 2 words. And like layered.
Okay. Layered's a good one. I chose, oh my gosh, I wrote them down on a sticky note at work and I forgot to bring the sticky note home. So bear with me. I also put boring. But what was I also hyphenated a word like fast start. And then I forgot the third one. Oh, anticlimactic. That was the third word. So, but yeah, everyone else, let us know what 3 words you would use, because I love collecting those words. So would you guys say the book is more plot driven or character driven?
I think it tried to be character driven. I think it tried, but I consider most thrillers plot driven, I feel like. So.
Yeah, I think it leads with plot driven, because definitely from off the bat, like the very start of the book is like only plot. It's all about kind of that hook and that gimmick about like she's going back to work after maternity leave, her husband is missing, and then the thing with the hostage kind of switcheroo. It definitely gets more character driven as you go, because the whole like all of the reveals and like who the characters are kind of drive what the reveals are and why they're supposed to be surprising. But I think it leads with the plot.
Yeah. I definitely feel like it's plot, especially in the beginning of the book, and then it kind of dwindles more, especially when you get like another point of view that I wasn't expecting to get. So yeah, I would say plot then slowly migrates over to character. So I do see a few words that were keyed in: boring, hiding, and investigating. I like that. Slow and beginner friendly. I agree with the beginner friendly.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your first initial thoughts? Like the first like 20-ish, I guess like the first part of the book, actually. What would you say your first initial thoughts were on the story?
I was pretty hooked. And then I was wondering where it would go. And I read this like in the car. We were going to Michigan, and then this happened. So like my mind was kind of everywhere. So sorry if I'm like my answers are kind of short and stupid. But yeah, it was good in the beginning, and then once it got to like the character driven moments, and then the unnecessary I hate when thrillers have romance in it, like for no reason.
Yeah.
You know? I think this had like a little bit of reason, but there was that other POV and I was just like, why do we need this? So I guess that was more than 20% though. But the beginning was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same here. I was pretty hooked at the beginning.
Yeah. I thought this was going to be like one of those thrillers where like so much happens in such a short period of time, but like the whole like what was it 7 years later after I
Hmm.
wasn't expecting that.
Hmm.
Um so definitely strong start, but then like it shifted and I was like, okay, where are we going? And I think that's where it kind of lost me slightly. So okay. So if you how would you react if your significant other left you a very cryptic note? Like before you know there's a hostage situation. Like if they just left you a note, very cryptic, like how would you react?
I was thinking about this on the way home. I don't even know. I don't even know. I'd probably try to text him and be like, "You're fucking with me. Like, are you joking? Like, what does this mean?" I, I don't even know. I don't know.
I feel like I would go through the exact same progression that she went through because for me, like my husband leaving super early would be weird, but like I'd be able to kind of justify it. Like something at work must have come up, or like sometimes he gets up super early to
Yeah.
go do something. So I'd be like a little confused at first. And then I'd go through like the a little annoyed and passive aggressive. Like you left me to like do the kids' morning routine and like you didn't even tell me, like give me a heads up. Like I'd kind of go through that. And then after a couple hours, after like texts go completely
Yeah.
unresponded to and you can't get a hold of it, and then I'd get like a little worried, and then I'd go to the like worst case scenario, like she was
Yeah.
picturing like the police coming to her door and telling her like we did everything we could do, like
Mhm.
envisioning that scenario. So I feel like I would hit all of those points exactly like she did.
Yeah.
Not he left super early. That would have been weird in and of itself because I'm always
Yeah.
an early riser. So I wouldn't even know. I'd be like, why aren't you telling me where you're going? Like I'd be
Yeah.
wide awake already. So I'd be like,
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. My husband leaves pretty early and I don't even think about it. But then, like, him not answering his phone or his texts, like, my husband is an iPad kid, like, constantly on his phone. So, like, the fact that he went out, that's where, like, the big red flag would kick in for me. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's going on? So,
Yeah.
I probably would have also been like, oh, it's fine. But no, it's not fine. But it's fine. But it's not fine.
And especially in this case, because it was like her first day back to work after maternity leave. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
was just to make it extra weird because like
Mm-hmm.
he wouldn't leave in normal circumstances
Yeah.
on such a big day when like she needs help.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that'd make it extra confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Joey also works from home. So like how would we even like there's
where are
just
you
so
going?
I wouldn't even get past the getting up early, leaving early.
Mm-hmm. I would have been like, I don't know where you're at, but you better come back with a treat. Like
Yeah,
a
bring me
sweet treat.
coffee.
Yeah, bring me coffee and then help me with this kid. So let's see some of the comments. I liked the beginning. I mean, I didn't need a play by play of her taking her kids to daycare, but once she got to work and found out the situation, it was good. I agree. I DNF this one early, so I'm excited to hear the discussion. Well, welcome.
Ooh,
Uh,
I want to know how early.
like how?
Yeah,
Oh
what'd you
yeah,
DNF?
let us know at like what percent or page did you DNF this? That is actually a good question. Forgettable, slow, and criminal. Even in the beginning, I was kind of shocked at how bored I was. I mean, the hostage situation, me being bored was odd. Yeah. Never leaves the house. I would have been calling around to his friends, his sister, etc. Yeah, I probably would have called my mother-in-law and be like, I need you to find your son. Okay, let's see. Cam reflects the most forms of freedom come with a price. Do you think, do you agree? Do you not agree? Why or why not?
I mean, it shouldn't, but it does,
It does, yeah.
especially in America. But I mean, in a way, to some extent, I guess.
Mhm.
I forget what the context of that
Yeah, I was gonna say it depends
was.
what
Do you
kind of
remember
freedom, I guess.
like when in the book that was the quote? I didn't remember to flag it
Hang
as
on.
I was reading it.
I found it. I found this question on a specific website. Unless someone else in the comments found it. Because of course I found like my most basic questions, but I'm like, is there anything like specific that people are discussing about this book?
Yeah, no, sorry to put you on the spot. I did not mean to do that. I just
No, you're good.
it's like it's coming in the questions kind of early on in the book, so I'm trying to figure out like what she was saying that about. I mean, in general, I feel like as an existential question, like the answer is yes. Like somebody must
Yeah.
kind of pay the price or bear the burden, affording people freedom. But when it comes to like freedom in your own life, like
Yeah.
I mean, I firmly believe that like people should be free to do what they want, like
Yeah.
as a statement. So I don't feel like that should come with an inherent price or like sacrifice or feel like you, yeah, have to forfeit in some
Yeah.
other way.
I'm also like, if it's too good to be true, like nothing's free, in my opinion. So I'm like, if it's
Yeah.
too good to be true, like what's the catch?
Yeah. I'm
So
always skeptical.
yeah, I'm like, I don't know, something's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on towards, I guess, like the middle of the book, Cam doesn't want to betray Luke by sharing information with the police, but wonders if she is complicit by not being truly or completely truthful. Is she morally obligated to share everything she knows with the police? Like, what do you think? Like, how would you react? Or now that you don't know what happened to Luke? Like,
I feel like I would just spew everything out. Because, like, what if Luke is dead? Like, what do you mean? I would.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also forgot what she was keeping from the police. So
I guess, like,
I think just like when she saw like things on his phone, like that house or
yeah.
whatever, she like didn't tell the police the truth about
Yeah.
that. And like, I don't know. I
I
don't
would have just
remember.
told them everything.
Yeah, I feel like the same. Well, I guess it kind of goes both ways. Like if you knew something had happened and you're like ride or die for them, then yeah, cover up a dead body or whatever with them.
Yeah.
But if it's in this case where you really don't know if he's
Yeah.
okay or not, and it could help find that out, then why wouldn't you?
Yeah. I
I
feel
feel
like
I'd
if
be desperate enough at that point to just like say everything.
And if you believe that he's a good person, which she does, like I feel like the book tried to make it seem like he could go either way. Like we don't
Yeah.
know if he's guilty
I
or
got
not,
that vibe too.
but she, like as his wife, I think like truly believed in him the whole time. So in that case, if you think he's a good person and he should have nothing to hide, then yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Jill said, I'd be like, here's everything. I know nothing. I agree. I also feel like, especially with time, like for one, you don't know what happened or what led to this moment. It's just like, well, I also want to know answers. So if my answers can also provide answers back to me, like here's everything. But also like time's passed so long. So it's just like,
yeah, how long was it at that point where she was
7? Was it 7 years?
Oh, it was 7 years already? I thought
Or
7
wait.
Well, the first was like right away, like the things on the phone and stuff like that. But then 7 years passed between part 1 and part 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they still had no answers.
Did she ever tell them about the note? I can't remember.
Yeah, they had found the note
pretty
early. She didn't know what it meant, so obviously they didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
So not on the list, but like would you have, knowing that there was a hostage situation, would you have provided the note right then and there? Or be like, oh yeah, he left me this cryptic note.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so, but I'd be just as confused. I'd be like, I have no idea what this means.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I have to panic around cops, so I would just be like, take everything.
Yeah. Like Joel said, I'd be like, here's everything. I know nothing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Do you think this book explored themes of grief?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Not deeply, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it was very surface level.
And we kind of fast forwarded through them by skipping forward that 7 years. You really got past the whole grieving period or the first part of the grieving period. I think it also kind of explored it, or it kind of like compared types of grief with her sister and her
Oh, yeah.
sister's situation and infertility, and then
Mhm.
losing the IVF transfer baby, things like that. I feel like kind of tried to like touch on that a little bit, and how
Mhm.
she wasn't like being empathetic to her sister, even though she was going through her own form of grief. And but yeah, I agree, it was kind of surface level. It didn't really go super
Yeah,
deep.
for me, I didn't even think about it touching grief until I saw this question. I was like, oh yeah, I guess it kind of did. I was like, well, I'll put this question in there in case like I just like completely like blew through this
And she
topic.
also kind of avoided grief because like he was missing. She
Yeah.
never found out like if he was at, she had to submit the death,
Oh yeah, so she could
request
sell the
for a
house.
certificate. Yeah, but
Mhm.
she didn't actually know. So then that would also be really hard because you wouldn't know if you even
Yeah.
can grieve or not.
Yeah. It's like grieving the unknown.
Yeah.
So
Can I just
makes
say, can we talk about the fact that my shirt is a combination of your two shirts?
we
Oh,
coordinated.
I just had to point that out. It was like,
That's why you're in the middle.
yes, perfect.
anyway,
That's
sorry, my brain.
so not planned, but way better now. Okay, so when urging came to move on, Libby says, if nothing ever changes, do you think you still want to be where you are in 10 years' time? If you were asked this, like in your own situation, like doesn't have to be as grim as like a hostage takeover, but like, what would you say?
No, no, I hate being stagnant. And
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I would want a different job by then. I'd want to be elsewhere, not in a one-bedroom apartment. Like, um, hopefully not still engaged. And I don't know. Yeah, 10 years is a long ass time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
No. I go crazy if I'm like at the same job for more than like 2, 3 years.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Same. I love change.
yeah.
So I'm more than happy to take whatever comes in 10 years. Like, where will I be in 10 years? I don't know. I've never really like had the full plan, but yeah, definitely expect things to be different. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be in a situation
Yeah.
where you have to like be in limbo like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love change and I also hate change. So again, 10 years from now, gosh, I mean, I hope I would have traveled more, but also like stay where I'm at. I don't know. Like I like change, but also not too much change. So yeah, I
I
don't
hate the
know.
process towards change. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even just moving, like, I moved like 5, 10 minutes away from my last apartment. Even that was just like, I can't even imagine moving to a different state. Like,
Yeah.
Jordan, didn't you move like across the country?
Yeah, well, not across the country, across the Midwest,
Okay.
maybe.
Well,
But yeah, a couple
Mm-hmm.
states away.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can't even imagine that. I did it for college, but that's different because, like,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't have to like commit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have so much stuff in college.
But once the change, like once you're moved in and settled and everything, and that's when I like change.
Yeah.
But the process, it's just I can't.
Yeah. I like the idea of like preparing for a new beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but it just seems chaotic to get there.
Yeah.
It's like A to C, but I don't like B.
No.
So she's like, poof, let me get
Good
there.
way to put it.
Yeah.
Like even just like looking for new jobs, that like thinking about the interview process, I hate it. So I'm just like, I'd rather
Yes.
just stay here for now.
Yeah. Until something comes to me, then
Yeah.
Yeah.
if an opportunity comes, great, I'll take it. But
Yeah.
yeah, the
Agree.
searching
I
is
know you're
rough.
100%.
there's always that dilemma of like, do you wait for things to come at the right time, or do you like take the leap yourself and
Yeah.
whatever? So
I'm all
Yeah,
about
all the-
manifesting, but I like it to manifest towards me. That's it. Okay, Cam wrestles with when to tell Polly, her child, the truth about her father. If you were in her shoes, do you think it would be best to tell her? And when do you think it would be best to tell your child something like that?
right away. My problems are your problems, bitch. I'm sorry. Like this is why I'm not a mom and I'll never be a mom. But I
Your little 9-month-old is like, what?
Like, I hate the thought of like having to lie to kids. Like, Joey and I talk about this all the time. Like, we're always like, imagine having to lie about Santa Claus. Like, we would not be able to do it. We're so bad at that. So yeah, I would just tell her like as soon as I know things, I feel like.
See, I'm like, I love lying to kids. Like I have Santa on speed dial. So and I will use that to my advantage. But Jordan, since you're a mom, you give us the inside scoop.
There was actually a really good like quote in here. I didn't
Mhm.
flag it or anything, but when she was talking about that and she was talking about how kids ask you questions like
Mhm.
before you're ready, like before you've thought about how you are going to answer them, but you have to, like you don't really get a chance to like pause and think about what you want to say. And that is so true. Like just the questions that kids will come up with, you're like, I thought I had more time before I had to figure out like how to deal with that
Mhm.
situation and answer the question. So I mean, in this situation, it's so like so outside of the realm of what you think would happen that I have no idea what I would do in the situation. I do think she did a pretty good job of like staying true to what she believed in that she thought her husband was a good person. She told her daughter that like I think that the police think he did something bad. I don't think he did, but he had to go away
Yeah.
because of that. And like just sharing a little bit more as they get older and can understand more. So I feel like she did as well as she could in that situation. And especially since he eventually like came back, you definitely don't want to be in a situation where you like lied to the daughter or like said something that you would later regret if he did miraculously come back into your life. But that'd be
Mhm.
so hard. Like I don't even know what to answer about the Santa Claus question, like let alone what happened to your missing father.
Oh no, I tell everyone, I'm like, Santa believes. Like you need to believe. So
We my daughter is 5, like 5 and a half, and she is right on the cusp of like I think she's gonna know
mm,
the truth soon. And like you can just tell, you can just see her brain working about like some of the logistical
I can
things with Santa Claus. And like one time we went to an aquarium and there was a mermaid, like with a mermaid tail, and she was reading a book to the kids sitting in a seashell and stuff like that. And my kids went to go take a picture with her and she came back and my daughter was like, I don't think she's a real mermaid. I stepped on her tail and she didn't even react. Like it didn't even hurt her. So clearly it's not part of her. And
I
I'm
can
like,
see Krista
I
doing
don't know,
that.
girl. Maybe. I don't know.
She's so cute. Oh my gosh. Um, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because I don't have kids, but like I can always be like, oh, I'll never tell them. But then I'm like, oh no, I have to tell them. So I can see it going both ways. So Jill said early, think as early as I could think they would understand. I feel to my kid about how my brother died because I thought she was too young, and she told me she knew I was lying. She told me that when she was
Whoa.
older. To be
Yeah, kids are
honest,
smarter than you think.
yeah,
That's
they.
definitely
Especially
true.
now with the internet.
And I think that was another thing. I do think now I would want her to. I guess I would have to tell her before she can like go Google it, or someone at
Yeah.
school knows about it before her.
Yeah.
I think I would be honest with my daughter from early on because I would rather it come from me, and I don't think it would cause her to wonder what else I lied about if I waited to tell her until later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
agreed. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I was like, ooh, like what do you like? That's a tough subject. I know that won't be easy. Okay, so what strengths do you think this book had, and what weaknesses do you think it had?
I think the are we saying spoilers or
Go for it.
okay. I think the reveal of like everything being part of the book and how subtle it was and how
Mhm.
he knew that she would know based on what she knows about him in the book and what he's said to her before and whatever. I think that was cool. That was kind of cute. Um I think that's the only strength though. The beginning. The beginning was strong. Um, yeah, otherwise for me it was pretty predictable in terms of what's his name? Charlie being involved. Charlie.
Charlie.
I was like, there's this weird romance, like he's definitely involved. And then there was that weird romance with like Niall and whatever that I didn't really care about at all.
Yeah.
I didn't really know why that was relevant. Maybe I just didn't pay attention, but yeah, so those are some weaknesses, I guess, for me.
I think it had a few, or I found a few more strengths for my personal taste. I agree. Obviously, we all said the beginning was strong. I think it lagged in the middle. Like, I think everyone kind of would agree. It definitely lulled there. But to me, the ending, I was really satisfied by how it all kind of puzzle pieced together. I think that's something that this author does in like all of her mystery books. They feel very just like she'll give you one thing and then she'll give you another thing and then eventually all comes together, but it feels like you're just getting kind of breadcrumbs. And I think that's a personal taste thing. Like some people just want it to come like as like a single reveal or like a big climactic ending. Whereas I think I personally like I like the kind of satisfaction of the slow burn like building of the puzzle. So I liked that. I also liked the inclusion of the hostage negotiator perspective, which I think is not something I've read in a book before or in a mystery before like that. So I thought that was cool, and we'll get when we talk about like recommendations of other books. I have some things to tie that to. But yeah, I thought the lull was worth the payoff at the end. So that was a strength for me. And I think for me, Wrong Place, Wrong Time did the same thing of like it gets really convoluted in the middle and like you feel like you're just like pushing against like a headwind and you're like, please be worth it. And then I enjoyed how it all played out at the end and it was worth it. But it's a slow kind of slog to get to the ending ultimately.
Yeah, I think I'm done with this author because I predicted Wrong Place, Wrong Time to at least that one big reveal. But I don't know, maybe it's just her writing style that I didn't like.
Yeah. I would say the strengths for this one is definitely a strong start, like we've said. I definitely feel like the middle was a weakness. Like to me, I like something to be fast paced, keep me guessing, and this one I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
I get it. I did like the or excuse me, I didn't really care for Niall. Is that his name? Yeah, Niall's point of view. I was just like, I didn't really care for the romance parts either as well. But I do think, like Jordan said, like the ending did have a good payoff. I just wish it like kept me intrigued from start to finish as well. So let's see. Joel said no strengths. That's blunt.
She takes it back later. She likes something.
Interesting premise. The hostage negotiator's married life totally fell out of place for me. Yeah, I also thought that too. Character development, pacing, predictable. I liked his investigation part of it. True. Okay, so now that we know everything, do you think, like, I guess in the, like, what am I trying to say? I guess the overall pacing, would you say it's slow paced, medium paced, or fast paced? Before we get to the big reveal of what happened.
I guess medium.
Yeah, sure? Kind of varied. Like pretty fast for the first part. I think we all agree pretty slow for the middle part, and then I think kind of evens out at the end. So like it evens out.
Kind of like a roller coaster. Perfect. Well, I agree with all of that. So Jordan, how would you explain the ending? What happened? Give us all the deets.
Okay, let's see. So It really is a wrong place, wrong time type situation. So basically, Luke was out for a drive with his 9-month-old daughter, trying to get her to fall asleep, which relatable. Sometimes babies will just only fall asleep in their car seat, driving in the car. And so that's what he was doing. And he stumbled upon this altercation between two teenage boys who were um, in like the drug scene, and they had two families in crime, and so one killed the other and he was a witness to it, so he killed the teenage boy who was left kind of by accident, like kind of trying to just stop him from what he was doing, but he ended up dying. And then because of his guilt, he went to the funeral of the one, actually don't remember which one it was. It must have been the one that died by accident, or the one that the other one killed, that he felt bad for, that he was trying to get justice for. He went to that funeral, and the family of the one that he killed was there. So then they followed him home and ultimately started trying to like ruin his life and blackmail him. And then they're the ones who he had hitmen trying to kill him. So he ended up at the warehouse, with the two hitmen trying to kill him. He stole their gun, was holding them hostage kind of just by happenstance. And then this other lady was just there because she owned the building. But then, let's see, her husband was in the police force. So he also was in on it. So it got a little convoluted there. But yeah, so then he had to go into hiding. And while he was in hiding, he wrote his wife a book because she was his editor. So he knew that she would be able to read between the lines and find within his writing like the real story and what happened and where he was. So she found him. The hostage negotiator also figured it out and was able to help Luke get back to safety, and then he was a hostage negotiator trainer at the end. I don't know what I missed. There's a lot of different details flying around there.
I'm just so glad you had that part and I had the synopsis. Just
I only made Jordan do that because I know this was either a reread or she read it and refreshed herself. So,
so no, I did reread it just to remember all the details. So,
oh yeah, well I appreciate that. So, I did like that he wrote the book and sent it to her anonymously. So there was a strength, Jules. That's what you're telling me. Okay, so what did you guys think about basically everything Jordan just said? The big reveal.
I like like I said, I like the book part. And I like little like inside jokes, not inside jokes, but like inside things, subtle things between couples. So I really like that part. The whole teenager thing, killing each other thing, I guess that was pretty shocking, but I wasn't like, I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
So it all made sense. Like I don't think there was anything missing from the author's end. There was definitely nothing missing from Jordan's end. But yeah, I don't know. 7 years is wild. I was, oh my God, wait. And then the whole like her not telling Luke about Charlie, I was pissed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was like, you're not gonna, I mean, I feel like he would get it. It was 7 years. She didn't know what was going on. Right. But she deliberately was like, yeah, he doesn't have to know. He literally said he doesn't have to know. I was like, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just sign here.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel like it was a bit random. I will say when she mentioned early on about having him take the baby for like car rides to fall asleep, I was like, that means something. I don't know what it means, but there's something, I don't know why it stuck out to me, but I wasn't expecting all that. So yeah, I do, like I said, the middle kind of felt flat for me, but I feel like once everything was revealed, I was like, okay. Now like, okay. Okay. Like
yeah. I feel like I would have been actually less satisfied if that crime part would have been more like it was very random, but I feel like that's what made it somewhat believable. Like it's not really that believable, but like it was more about like he ended up in this crazy random situation and then like really had to play the long game to get himself out of it, which like sometimes you just end up in a crappy situation. But like
Mhm.
if there would have been something a little bit more convenient, like they were also related to him or something like that would have been a little
Yeah.
too much, like a little too convenient. So
Yeah.
that's what I thought. So I actually liked that it was kind of a random situation
Um,
that came around.
he should have just minded his own business, to be honest. Like he
Mhm.
would have
Yeah,
just
just don't get out of the car. Just stay in the car.
yeah,
Keep driving.
wasn't it like the middle of the night you said?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
why would you do that? God,
yeah.
men are so stupid.
Because if a woman was driving a car, they would have been like, "Oh,
She,
I'm still
yeah, she'd be
going."
I would have been like, that sucks, and then just kept driving.
I mean, exactly. Also, where did he get the money to live off for the past 7 years?
yeah, how did he just hermit
I
quit it?
also thought that too, which brings up a good point. Were there any unanswered questions or plot holes in the story, like this one? That was the only one I could think of. I was like, if I had to go missing for 7 years, how would I physically do this being under the
Yeah.
radar?
Was his last book successful? I can't even remember. Did he have a successful book?
Kind of. He had a couple, yeah, he had some note. So he was a ghostwriter. So like he wasn't
Oh yeah, that's right.
famous. Um,
All right.
and I also liked that part of the book where it was like, crap. So like the book he wrote to her was from the dead guy's perspective. So it was like the book about a dead man was written by a ghostwriter. So it was in a much more clever way, but it was like
Mm,
ghostwriter book from dead person's perspective. Like I thought that was clever. But anyway, back to the point. Yeah, I don't think he was like super rich or famous or anything, but I think he had ghost written at least a couple books up until that point.
I don't know if this is like relevant, but I also think they dragged on the whole coordinates part so much more than they needed to. Like, how many
Yeah.
times did they say, "Oh, they're coordinates. They're coordinates." So that was
Like we get it.
yeah,
real.
I agree. And like, I know like he wrote for other people, but I was also thinking like, oh, like they didn't check like his accounts
Well, and he had a
or
little help with that guy whose house he was in for a little bit. That guy from
Mhm.
the dark web who had been helping him. So like he had a little help, but I don't know.
See, that's the other thing. I'm like, okay, you're in so much trouble, but yet you're gonna like trust someone you found off the dark web.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It was also wild that like Polly was calling her Luke for a little bit because
Yeah,
she
not
couldn't
dad.
without him. Yeah,
Mhm.
I thought that was kind of sad.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, she lived more of her life without him than with like
yeah,
way more by
yeah.
that point. So,
Because I think she was only what 9 months was
mhm.
how long the maternity leave was.
Yeah.
So, okay. Before we do our final star rating, do you have any book recommendations for people who did or did not like this book?
This is the one I couldn't think of an answer for. I just kept thinking of the writing retreat because it's bookish, but like that one was. I also gave that one 3 stars. Famous last words. You go first, Jordan. Let me
Oh,
think.
Jan, I've got one. So, if you want a mystery about a writer with missing spouse,
Oh yes, yes,
and Jan also loved this one. So,
yes, 5
That's a
stars.
good one.
You're so
yeah,
right.
this one definitely has pretty similar vibes, I thought.
Mhm.
So much better. So much better.
And then let's see what else. So I also wanted to talk about weirdly a nonfiction book that I had also happened to read around the same time. It's called Never Split the Difference, and it's a nonfiction book about negotiation by a former FBI hostage negotiator. And so this book is a book that like at my workplace, like it's a lot of people talk about it. So I read it kind of for work, but it's about like negotiating in your everyday life using these types of strategies. But it was actually really interesting having read this like right before having read Famous Last Words, because even some of the things in Famous Last Words, he was like, and this is called priming. Like, you do this strategy to get them, to tell them what they want to hear. So they do da 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 da. And it talks about how, like, as a hostage negotiator, you actually want like nothing to happen. You don't want the situation to escalate. So, like, kind of related to the comments about like, it was actually kind of slow for it being a hostage negotiation situation. Like, well, actually, that's what the negotiator wants, because if it escalates, then you lose control. But if you like keep it calm and boring, then you're more likely to have, a positive situation. So I just thought this was an interesting like coincidence of a book that I read near the same time. And then the last one is not really similar at all, but it's like the most like the best slow burn puzzle PC mystery that I've ever read. That's one of my favorites. Is called The Enigma of Room at 622. It's a chunky boy. It's a slow mystery, but it was 5 stars for me, so it was like so worth the build up. So that's one I would recommend just for anyone else who's looking for, more puzzle PC type mysteries that you can really sink your teeth into and be satisfied by.
Thanks.
So that's kind of all over the place, but those are my recs.
Yeah, Beautiful Ugly. I agree. Like all my recommendations, because I didn't like this book, if you couldn't tell. Are books that like I also didn't like, but like have the same vibes. Like Someone in the Attic is also a beginner friendly thriller, I think, but I gave that one 1 star. So like, am I really recommending it? Not really.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, so I would recommend obviously anything else by Gillian McAllister, like obviously, but a few other ones. If you wanted like, I guess, faster pace, like home invasion or hostage situations, I would maybe recommend The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. That one is definitely home invasion. Actually, I think all of these are like more home invasion versus like hostage situations, but I feel like they kind of like go
that
together.
Was a hostage situation.
Yeah. Well, it's not like a police negotiating sort of thing. I would also recommend Night Watching by Tracy Sierra. I think that was one of my last books of last year. That one was really good. Definitely had like a heart pounding moment from like start to end. And then I personally did not like this one. And I think it's just because I don't really like this author's writing style, but it is My Darling Husband by Kimberly Bell. That one also has like a home invasion, weird things behind the scenes. So I would recommend those 3. So yeah.
Nice. Okay.
But if anyone else has recommendations, let us know in the comments. I would love to find another book similar. Okay, lastly, and everyone else in the comments, let us know, what is your final star rating, everyone?
A 2.
I gave it 4.
I also gave it a 2 star.
Wow.
I felt like at first I thought it was a 3, but I was like, let me just like kind of marinate on it a little bit. I've been doing that where I don't like say a star rating, especially if it's for like a book club or something else, for like a couple of days. And I feel like this was a 2. I feel like I can kind of forget about it. I actually had to like kind of brush up a little bit on like what all happened in the middle. So yeah, 2 stars for me. What is a 4 star and what is a 2 star for y'all in this situation?
Yeah, I was just like really bored. I needed the audiobook. You know those books where you just like need the audiobook to finish it? That was that. And I hate DNFing book club books, like mine or other people's. Like I just hate that. So I pushed through. Plus, like I said, so many other things were going on. I was in the car. I was falling asleep. Oh my God, I fell asleep 3 times reading this book. It was a 6-hour trip. I kept falling asleep. Three times in that 6-hour trip. And it was like long naps. I was like, I don't want to read this. But yeah, it would have been 1 star if the reveal wasn't what it was. I think the book part really got me. Not got me, but like gained that 2nd star. Yeah, I don't like her writing style. I didn't like the POV she chose. It could have been a novella. This could have been an email. Okay, Jordan, good.
I love that.
Bring your positivity.
Yes, no, I definitely tolerated I think the slow pace better. It worked more for me, and I thought the ending was worth it. It's interesting that you didn't like the writing style because I actually thought it was so similar to Alice Feeney's in a lot of ways, just in how she would like insert little poignant little quips, like little things that are just like, that was weirdly profound. Like that random line about marriage or motherhood or whatever. Like, we're in a mystery book right now, but that kind of resonated with me. Like, those are two authors, like the only two authors I can think of that really do that in their mysteries. So I also liked that part of it. But it wasn't perfect. So obviously not a 5 star and not one that I'll be like raving about forever. But yeah, I was overall just satisfied by it. I liked the puzzle pieciness of it. So I think I will read more uh, by this author. I probably won't go back to any of her older books or anything, but I'll keep an eye out for what she publishes in the future, and especially if they're similar to this in Wrong Place, Wrong Time, then I think I will continue to enjoy them.
Maybe it was the motherhood part too. Like
Maybe.
all the IVF stuff, I was like, I don't care. And
Yeah,
then also the fact, listen, I love a slow burn, mostly in romance, but I could do a slow mystery if it was marketed as a slow burn. It says
true.
addictive thriller.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's a thriller at all either. Yeah,
No,
I totally agree.
It definitely felt more mystery than a
yeah,
thriller.
for sure.
Yeah. I do feel like the synopsis was a little misleading, but also I feel like if you explained what was actually going to happen after the hostage situation, it probably wouldn't have been as
Yeah, it like
attractive.
gives away the best part of the beginning of the book,
Yep.
like the very fast-paced, interesting part, and then doesn't explain how like
Mhm.
the later
Yeah.
2/3 of the book is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is the end of the discussion. Thank you guys so much for joining and, reading the book and joining us. But yeah, everyone, let us know in Discord what you guys thought of the book if you hadn't chatted. Next month, we do have our book pick, which is, let me share my screen because I just can't be bothered to get up to go to the bookshelf behind me. Next month we are reading is it sharing? It might help if I do this. Okay,
Loading. Yeah.
Next month we are reading The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers. I will have Lena and both Sarah joining me, and the discussion is the last day of the month, which is August 30th, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here. So pick up a copy and join us over on Discord as well as for the live show. And yeah, again, I have, you guys are way too small. There we go. I have everyone's channels linked in the description. Make sure you go give them a follow, subscribe, all that jazz. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye.
Thanks for having
Bye.
Of course.
us.